Hello and welcome to tonight's CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I'm your host, Nick Quaglia, sitting here with Marv, Ezhan, and Mike Molyneaux. All right, so off-season time still. We got to talk about things that we want the Patriots to do going into next season. Because if there was one thing that really pissed off a lot of people about the Patriots this year, it was that offense. And it's crazy because at the start of the season, guys, we were like, this offense is nasty. We were talking about this team going undefeated. And then all of a sudden you started to realize, okay, Brady actually has nobody to throw to. There are no targets. And you looked at the offense overall and you're like, okay, there's some things that got to be fixed here. So going off of that, as we head into the free agency period in about a month, as we head into discussions about what the Patriots should trade for, if they should trade for anybody, guys, the question is, which targets do you want the Patriots to go and get this offseason to improve either the defense? It doesn't have to just be the offense, either the defense or the offense next season. What targets do you want to see them go get? Marv, we'll start with you.
First and foremost, whether you keep Tom Brady or Tom Brady leaves, the New England Patriots need to start off in the draft and somehow, some way, draft a quarterback. You need to draft another quarterback going into the draft.
How high? How high do you think?
I'd say somewhere between the third and fifth rounds. If you draft earlier, I wouldn't be mad if it's a really solid quarterback. You need to get someone in here that you believe in, that you trust in, and say, hey, this is going to be the future of our team right here. And you give them the keys. You say, hey, in 2 years, this is what we want you to become. Just as what they were trying to do with Jimmy Garoppolo. And we found out, hey, Tom Brady just was not ready to slow down anytime soon.
That's
So
the worst part. They had that guy.
they had
They
it.
had him.
Wasn't time, man.
It's just they had it too early. Too early. Tom Brady was still slinging that ball, still great. Second, something we haven't really talked about really is that defensive line. You need to bring in someone to like a run stopper. Last year they went in, they tried to get Mike Pennell, and that just didn't work out at all. Yes, you do have Adam Butler, but you brought in I'm blanking on his name, Bennett. You brought in Bennett and he didn't work out, due to
I
the
almost forget
scheme.
he was even on the team.
Yeah, people
Short,
forget
very
he was
short.
on the team. He was supposed to be a guy that, really shored up that defensive line. And because you had the Jamie Collins and you guys were switching up the schemes, it didn't work out. But we saw once you faced the Baltimore Ravens you couldn't stop the run at all. The run was your biggest weakness on defense. Yes, the defense was elite, but we saw what happened later on into the season. Bring some guys in there to be able to stop the run. And then offensively, we're talking about the offensive line, protecting the quarterback,
Do you have
whoever
anybody
it
that
may
you
be.
want them to go get? Any ideas? Because you're losing Joe THUNEY, which you're not bringing Joe THUNEY back. That guy is going to
And it
bring in a
starts.
haul.
I know what you're saying, and we know how much money he's gonna make. But you got to do whatever you can to try to keep Tua.
Yeah.
Someone who knows your offense, solidify that left side. I know, Nick. I think you brought this up on the show. Maybe moving Tooney to tackle and continuing on from there.
THUNEY to tackle?
Yeah, maybe moving Tooney to tackle and finding another guard.
So the thing is, because if you have Win, if you do lose THUNEY, Win played guard, and I think that's the conversation I was having. Win played guard
Okay.
in
Yep.
college. So you could take Win. There are a lot of people who are like, this guy is a bona fide tackle. But you could take Win and you can move him over to guard easy. So if you're going to lose Joe THUNEY, it sucks, but you at least have that potentially. But then the problem is left tackle. Like, what do you do?
And
What
then
are
on
the
the right
options?
side, another problem is what happened to the right side of our offensive line. Mason, Cannon, all these guys is just they regressed all last season. So you really got to start bringing in some guys in that can actually play some football and really shore up that line because that was the huge problem from there. So stopping the run in the offensive line, those are something the Patriots really need to fix coming into this season.
All right, Mike, before we jump over to you, I've got a list of guys. There have been rumors, there have been discussions about free agents, about trade targets. Um, Not even just potentially for the Patriots, but just players who could be traded. So you got Stephon Diggs. There was a lot of rumors before the NFL trade deadline last season. He's on a semi-new contract. He's got a couple years left. Stephon Diggs, maybe a trade target. Odell Beckham, That guy seems pissed about where he is again. Manny Sanders, free agent. Hunter Henry, free agent. AJ Green. Marv, this goes along with your offensive line. Anthony Costanzo, I think is how you pronounce it. Offensive tackle for the Colts. And just seeing the team Colts, the Colts had a badass offensive line.
That line was really good.
He's a free
agent.
agent.
It took him a while, but they finally got a line.
As soon as Andrew Luck was like, I'm going to get out of here. Amari Cooper and then Derrick Henry. So those are just a couple of names who are free agents and potential trade targets. So, Mike, what do you think? Targets, who should the Patriots go after? Who should they go and grab?
First and foremost, I agree with everything Marv said for sure. This is the year. This is the year you draft the next guy. I'm going with the assumption that Brady will be back. But in the draft, this is the year you get the guy that is going to be there. Brady is going to have 2, maybe 3 years in him. I think that's enough time to bring somebody in and have him there ready to go. If you sign Brady to a 2-year contract that I think will bring him to 45, I believe, which is his target age that he's been talking about. I think this is the year you make it happen in the draft. I also am one that believes when it comes to the line, especially the offensive line, the draft is the way to go. I feel like you can definitely, get somebody in the draft or a few people in the draft who can step up on the line and be solid pieces there. You don't necessarily have to go out and sign somebody to big time money. I believe that in the draft, you can shore up an offensive line as long as you have, the right scouts to find the right players to put into your system. And I believe the Patriots do. I mean, unfortunately, Dante Starnicki is gone, so you don't have him there to work with these guys anymore. But I trust the Patriots in making that happen. In terms of other areas on the team, aside from Brady, we do know that this team needs weapons. They need weapons, and a guy.
Who do you want them to bring in as a weapon?
I'm thinking AJ Green might have to be that guy. I understand he's had
yes.
He's had some history with injuries. We know that, which makes it a little scary because I don't know if he's played a full season since he's been in the league. I can't recall. I've had him on my fantasy team a couple of years, so I know that for sure. Another guy who I think is going to be in free agency is Amari Cooper. I believe I saw his name floating around there as well. Does Dallas do everything they can to try to bring him back too? They have to already deal with Dak Prescott, his contract situation. But maybe Amari Cooper wants to, test the waters other places. And if the Patriots and him link up, I know Amari Cooper early in his career struggled, but he's had a sort of resurgence since he's been with Dallas. So I wouldn't mind him as well. Those are two weapons over there. You obviously need to upgrade the tight end position. That's another place. Do you kick the tires with Jimmy Graham?
No.
I don't know.
You do not. You let those tires continue to go down the hill.
Greg Olsen, maybe.
No.
Neither.
Greg Olsen, I'm a maybe. Just because, Jimmy Graham, I know I always crap on Aaron Rodgers, but if you aren't going to be productive with Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if, Brady's much better, believe me, but I don't know if I'm big on Jimmy Graham. But I'm glad you brought up tight ends because there is somebody that I think the Patriots should go after, and I think they will go after. We already know what the Patriots do with the tight end spot. If you have a good tight end in the system, their offense runs like a well-oiled machine. They are phenomenal. They're solid. Hunter Henry has gotten his ass beat with injuries. 2018 torn ACL. Last year he missed a few games with a knee injury. Hunter Henry's a free agent, and those injuries might have saved teams at least when it comes to the contract that it would take to bring this kind of guy in. Because Hunter Henry, a couple years ago, we saw before the injuries, he was a solid player. He looked like he was one of the up-and-coming tight ends of the league. If the Patriots can throw a contract at him that's affordable for them, and you can bring in a productive tight end who, the Patriots have had issues with tight ends and injuries before, but if you can bring in this guy and just hope that he's not going to get hurt like AJ Green, well, you might have some value there with a guy who can put on a show for you at the tight end spot. But then, let's get crazy. Stephon Diggs, give up that first-round pick. Give me Stephon Diggs in a Patriots uniform.
big move right there.
That's
but
one of my favorite players. I would love to see it, but that won't be hard.
that's tough. That's tough.
First round pick, do it. I'll sell my leg to the Vikings if I have to. I will do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter to me. I would love to see Stephon Diggs in a Patriots uniform. And that's kind of perfect for what the Patriots do, because I think if you went out and you got Stephon Diggs, and like I said, Hunter Henry, I think it will be on an affordable contract. You might be able to bring both of those guys in, and you couple that with N'Keal Harry, who could take a step forward. You still got Julian Edelman on this team. Suddenly, guys, you're looking at this Patriots offense, and you're like, hell yeah, let's have a day. This is going to be awesome.
Solid offense away from being, the team that we expected them to be last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that if you could give up a first-round pick for Stephon Diggs, you do it. Because if you bring in Brady, what's he want? He wants weapons. All of a sudden, you've got that elite target. You've got a solid tight end as long as he's healthy. You got Julian Edelman, your best friend, still there. You got N'Keal Harry, like I said. You've got those weapons there who are all of a sudden, like, this offense is going to be good. I think there's a legit chance that both those things can happen. And, man, I would lose my mind if they brought Stephon Diggs in. Lose it.
I mean, tight end is obviously the glaring hole of this offense, right? You just didn't have one at all. Why don't you try, if you want to kick tires, why don't you try kicking the tires on O.J. Howard? He's entering his last year.
He screwed me last year.
Buccaneer season. He wouldn't be playing like that if he's playing with the New England Patriots, Nick. This is a guy who can block. And at first, we all thought he was just going to be a blocking tight end, and he untapped his receiving ability. He can be really special with the Patriots. I think that's a target. Hunter Henry's great. But I think if you can try to go for O.J. Howard, younger, more healthier, I think that's the target that you want to look at.
Yeah, and he's really athletic too. And if you can, I think that's what it comes down to. If you can just bring in a productive tight end, I think that changes the dynamics of this entire offense.
And you need two tight ends. With this system, you still got Josh McDaniels running the offense. You need two tight ends, and hey, you get a solid tight end and maybe an O.J. Howard, Hunter Henry, and then you draft Moss's boy, Thaddeus Moss.
Oh, put him in
on the team as well. And oh man, let's get it started. Let's get Moss a ring.